Alright, hey guys, Adukedi here. Welcome back. It's been a while. So finally I decided to do a ownership review of my KTM 390 Adventure 2021 model. I have done 13,900 kilometer almost. I hope you can see that. Yeah, so it's been 4 years. I'm gonna complete 4 years in 2 weeks time. You know, today is 13th March, so in 2 weeks time I would complete 4 years with this bike. Yeah, finally wanted to do a ownership review, and I'm in Bangalore, as you guys know if you had followed me in the past. I'm in the traffic. This is the BTM road which connects to Silk Board Road. So I'm gonna review this bike while riding the bike on Outer Ring Road, the famous, very famous Outer Ring Road here in Bangalore. Alright, that's the introduction. So let's hit it. So I'm a bit rusty guys, so bear with me on that. First of all, why did I buy the bike? Right, so let me tell you why did I buy the bike. So this was at the time 2021 March the most value for money adventure bike available in Indian market. So there was nothing else. Of course Royal Enfield was there, and because of my past experiences, I did not like to pick up another one, so I decided to buy this. So most value for money, most powerful engine in the category, and good service network, spare part cost also nominal. Yeah, all these factors were considered, and decision was made to buy this bike. Okay guys, we are at Silk Board Junction. So I have told you why did I purchase the bike. Now, what I like about the bike. First of all, the engine power. It's like it will it will make you push the bike hard. If you know the bike once, it will bring out the hooliganism inside you. So yeah, it's a really powerful bike if you want it to be. And also you can ride it at low RPMs, but it's not that fun to ride at low RPM. So the most liked part is of course the engine power and design of the bike, how it looks. It looks like an ADV, even though it's built on the Street Fighter platform. It's not out and out ADV build. Still, overall looks, and the first two factors. One is the power, second part is the overall looks and design of the bike. What I don't like about the bike, yeah, there are a few things. See, these things may not matter to most people, uh, given the value proposition it brings, and also the 2025 ADV is also on the sale. I think it has more value than before. So some of the inherent characteristics of this bike are like it has vibrations. There is no two way about it. You have to deal with it. See, when you start the bike, when it is idling, you have that unstable RPM. So it's a single cylinder engine and high revving engine, so it comes with vibrations, and also it has very unstable RPM. So I think that itself causes a lot of vibes, kind of passed on to the body of the bike, structure of the bike, especially the front. You notice a lot, but it vibrates across. Okay, you can feel some vibration on the seat, you can feel vibration on the foot peg, so on the tank, on the handlebars, on the mirrors, everywhere. And that's something you need to live with. Okay, vibrations are there in the bike. And second point here is cheap plastics used. I know why that is so, because it's the most value for money proposition, so that brings with cost cutting, right? One of the major complaint any ADV owner will know this is that bikini fairing just right under that headlight. I should say the indicators. Right under that indicator there are two plastic cowls, or what do you call, bikini fairings. They used to break a lot. I think the current set I have is the third set, I believe. First set I broke, I think, within 6 months of buying the bike. Second set again after riding some long ride. Once one was broken, so it's not exactly complete replacement. I think one time I did one side fairing, another time I did another side fairing, then one more time I had to do it because there was slight design change KTM did for that bikini fairing. So that kind of fixed most of the problems, with also adding a washer to the bolts used to tighten those fairings, kind of did some wonder and fix that issue. For now it is fixed, but if you ride hard, and I think there is high chance that fairing will break. That's one of the cheapest plastic used on the bike. And also the headlight surrounding plastic shrouds are cheap. They are like smoky, transparent, so you can break them easily. So that's the second point. Okay, coming to another point is the throttle response. It's not smooth, it's like jerky. The whole power delivery is jerky. Okay, unless you are riding at very high RPM, so you notice the jerkiness a lot. Yeah, that's something I think it's common across KTM bikes, and you have it here also. Next, I would ask myself this question: would I buy this bike given a chance? I would say yes, if the budget is under 5 lakhs and you need all the gizmos, all the electronics, and the second generation, or I should say the ground up built ADV is much better than the version I am riding. So I would definitely buy, consider this. See, one thing we need to do is test ride the bikes. I know people don't like certain brands, but definitely give it a try. Give it a chance to other brands which have bikes in this same category, because different people will have kind of like, you know, different likings. Like, you know, when you ride the bike for maybe like, you know, for some time, like half an hour, you may have different feeling compared to like what you have seen it on the video, or like, you know, what's your perception of the brand, you know, before riding the bike. So give it a chance, try it out. But under 5 lakh, I do think KTM 390 rocks, especially the current one. Yeah, it will come with problems, guys, like any other bike. Okay, even the Hondas, Kawasaki's, every other bike has problem. Okay, it is not like Japanese bikes are like, you know, made of solid gold, but they are better off, right? Like, you know, their engineering is much more precision oriented, but European bikes are not far behind. So if you ask me, some accessories I put on, right? Like, you know, I have really spent a lot of money on accessories. So if you sum it up, I have spent more than 65,000 rupees for accessories. So one of the most important accessory I bought was the windscreen. You see, this is the Puig windscreen, slightly smoky. So this kind of enhances the looks of the bike, and also like, you know, protects from, you know, wind when you are touring. But it comes with one negative, that is like, you know, the bike has vibrations. Even with the stock windshield, you know, there is vibration. So this being a longer one, you can clearly see the vibration on the windshield. So that's something you need to live with. The cost of that windshield is 13,500. Okay, the next accessory I have is Barkbusters. Alright, so Barkbusters cost me the same 13,500. See, these modifications, right, like, you know, the moment you make these modifications, there is always slight change in you know, way the bike behaves, because like, you know, manufacturers already optimized you know, with whatever accessories and you know, everything else to minimize that vibration, you know, give you that perfection. So when you modify the bike, there is always this, like, you know, slight changes. You may feel more vibration. That's pretty common, so you have to live with that, because these accessories are not tested in the bike development. So these are something you are adding additionally. So there is no way, like, you know, you get the same you know, kind of setup which is OEM setup. Whatever you had, you may lose some of that feel. Yeah, that's something you need to live with. And also I have changed mirrors on this bike. I have went with Husqvarna mirrors. It cost me 1,500 rupees. I don't know, it's a personal choice. The stock mirrors are good, they have good visibility, but I don't like the shape of those mirrors, so I always like the round mirrors. So that's why I went with Husqvarna mirrors. So these are available in the you know, KTM dealers, so you can get them. They are also cheap, 1,500 rupees. So what are the next big thing I have done? I have a mud flap. So in the walk around, I have you know, the walk around clip you must have seen. You can notice that the mud flap, I purchased it from some online company. I forgot the name. I think it's like Bandidas Pit Stop, I think that's the website. So cost me 4K, but yeah, in Bangalore definitely helps. I would recommend go for it. It also looks pretty like the one you see on GS. So if you know, that kind of like, you know, encourages to purchase, yeah, definitely it enhances the look, no doubt about it. All right, so what are the crazy issues I had with this bike? Definitely I need to address that. See, I've been riding the bike in traffic for some time now. So in 23, I think in 24, I believe 24, I started noticing, like, you know, bike switches off, you know, showing it's overheated. So it started to happen quite often. So then I had to stop, wait for the bike to cool down, then, like, you know, used to get started and you know, move on from there. So it troubled me a lot. I had to push the bike in traffic, I think twice I had to do that. It was really crazy, like, you know, parking somewhere and waiting for the bike to cool down. Yeah, that happened. So what are the other accessories, right? So I did purchase handlebar risers. I tried them, but one thing I noticed was you know, your OEM throttle cable becomes a bit tighter once you install the 1-inch, I think they are 1-inch handlebar risers. So and while turning to the right completely, like, you know, it really kind of like, you know, pulls the cable. So I did not like that, and also the feel was not great. So I decided to remove those, but I did purchase handlebar risers. Okay, so what else did I purchase? There is a headlight cover which is from Amazon. Paid some 1500, I think, I don't know, around 1000 maybe. Yeah, 1000 plus. That kind of like, it gives a cool look. It looks yellow, so I think it helped a little bit on the light spread. Maybe a placebo effect, but whatever. So I like the look of the bike because of it, and also it's Velcro based attachment, so I didn't have to install anything heavy, any you know, attach, you know, the metal part to install that. So I went with that. And also I don't have any third-party crash guards. I have whatever is given to me by KTM. That's something I insist on people not to install on the bike. The bike is YB, guys. Okay, the moment you add this like 2 kg crash guard which covers everything, yeah, you have to deal with whatever issues comes with that. Of course, like, you know, if you are very prone to dropping your bikes and your height is less, maybe consider those. Otherwise, just ignore them, guys. OEM is good enough. They are small, they look engineered for the bike. Yeah, you don't need the big heavy crash guards for this engine. This engine is, as I said, YB, so I think it will just pass more vibes to that crash guard, and you know, it may create some issues for you. So that's purely my opinion. So see, anything outside you put, these are not tested to the brim, right? These are just tested on few bikes. They must have ridden few 100 kilometers, and that's it. That's not good enough, right? So you cannot match the research and development effort went into the bike manufacturing, and you know, no vendor can match that. Maybe like there are a few, right, like SW Motortech, or like there are a few, like, you know, very highly reputed ones. They may match that, but everyone else is just winging it. So when somebody is winging it, you just need to be aware of, like, you know, it comes with issues. if not now, in the future. Yeah, that's something, keep that in mind. Okay, so I do have so many other accessories like Mad Dog auxiliary lights. The lowest of the low ones I purchased still cost me some 8.5K. So there is Triumph. Yeah, so when Triumph, I see the Triumph, like, you know, one thing right away I notice is the sound. The KTM sounds so bad. I'm sorry, you know, it's my bike, but I'm, like, you know, telling so many negatives about it, but still, that's the fact, guys. Anybody confused about Scrambler 400X and KTM, I would just pick a Scrambler just because of how good the bike sound is. But of course that also comes with some negatives and stuff like that. You have, you know, ownership reviews and other stuff online, so figure it out. But that just, you know, that moment I just wanted to tell that. Yeah, definitely, let's talk about the KTM sound. KTM sound is I don't know, man, like, you know, it had this typical tuk-tuk sound in the when they launched for the first time, I think. Then the second versions changed a bit. The current versions, I don't know what to say, like, you know, they just sound like some auto, right? KTM needs to work on that sound engineering for sure. Now everybody is working on that. All the big bikes work on that, even the small bikes like now Triumph, Scrambler 400X definitely worked on it. Bajaj is working on it, so maybe Bajaj influenced Triumph to do something about it. So I hope, like, you know, they influence KTM also to do something about it, because it's really not encouraging the sound, because that's something I like, you know, the OEM sound. I'm not talking about, like, you know, exhaust and all that. They are too loud. If you are a tourer, like, you know, too loud exhausts are never good. They are good for outside people, they are never good for your ears. Your eardrums will go after doing some hundreds of trips. So you better off with OEM and some earplugs which help you keep you healthy on the hearing side. So yeah, I think I have been talking so many other things, but that's what I feel about KTM sound. Area. Alright guys, I think that's about KTM 390 Adventure ownership review. Tell me, had I covered everything? Okay, I think I forgot about the service. Oh my god. Yeah, service experience has been good, buying experience was good. See, these KTM showrooms, you know, the sales persons keep on changing, so you cannot really count on, like, you know, there is somebody will be there always who sold your bike. But, like, you know, overall experience was good. Service experience has been decent. It's not that bad. Of course it can be improved, but given the volume they get and the number of people there in most of the service centers, it's, you know, it's understandable why certain services are that way. But they are responsive. Like, I go to Banagada service center, so they're pretty responsive. They help me a lot. Yeah, one more accessory I forgot to mention, like, you know, the biggest one you should change for before 2025 versions of 2024 versions of 390 Adventure, except the rally version of 2024. Maybe you need to get the rally rear suspension. Otherwise the OEM suspension is really bad. Like, you know, it's so bad to ride on the road. You literally start hating your bike once you start realizing your suspension is doing nothing, you know, to smoothen the undulation on the road, and like, you know, so every bump and, you know, the speed breakers. So change that, like, you know, you can get it for around 8,000 rupees with labor charges from the dealerships, like, you know, service centers. That would, you know, improve the bike a lot. Some people even went ahead and changed the front suspension. I tried to do that, but you can do it, but it costs you maybe upwards of 20k. There are ways of reducing the cost, like you can keep the same fork tubes of the front and get the springs and all the you know, other adjustable suspension parts. That is also possible, but try talking to the service station and see whether you can get that. Tried it, but I could not go through it because there were concerns about, like, you know, whether it fits and stuff like that, so I let go of that plan. Yeah, and this ride and review may be my last one on this bike, because of course I'm trying to upgrade or downgrade, whatever, I don't know. Want to buy a new bike. I had this bike for 4 years and it served me well. It had issues, as I mentioned, like, you know, some overheating issues, and yeah, I did not talk about, like, you know, why it used to overheat, like, you know, what was the solution. Interestingly, it was a fuel pump issue, so that was resolved on warranty. So after that I'm not facing any such issues. It's been like more than a year since I resolved that issue, so that's good. That was the major issue I had. And also, like, you know, sometimes I noticed on the tank, like, there is like slight bulge, maybe whatever reason, I don't know, because of the plastic shrouds it has on it. So I got that tank also changed, but later on I realized most of the KTM bikes have that slight you know, kind of unevenness on the tank, so it may not have been needed, but anyhow, I got it changed. So those are the things, guys. Like, you know, I think I covered pretty much everything. So I do have, like, you know, the saddle stays and you know, rear carrier, which are from Motor Run. I will put all the accessory list I have on the bike in the description. You can go through it if you want to get it, like, you know, maybe search and get it from online. So yeah, that's about it, guys, right? You know, it's a pretty decent experience, combined with some bad experience as well. It is not all positive. And let's also talk about the average, guys. Like, you know, I don't know, I'm trying to end the vlog, ownership review vlog, but I'm keep on coming back to what I missed. So what, you know, if you look at it, currently consumption is 4 kilometers per liter, and the speed is really bad, 22 kilometers per hour. So if you are riding 20 to 25 kilometers per hour speed, that's what it gives. This bike gives, like, you know, in the city around 24, 25. In Bangalore city, I should specify that, and on the highway it will cross 30, more than 30. So it's a decent mileage for the bike. It is, right? It's a high revving engine, so it's not that bad. In the city it could have been a little better, but you know, the traffic is really bad. I think that sucks out that more fuel from the bike. That's fine. I think I'm okay with that. When you purchase a 373cc bike, you should be fine with getting around 25 kilometer per hour mileage. Alright, guys, I think I would like to end this, you know, ownership review. If you have any more questions, let me know. I have not changed my tires on the bike. They are still running. I'm still running on Metzilla's original equipment. original OEM tires. I think maybe another year you can ride them, because usually tire life is 5 years, irrespective of thread. But yeah, we do ride quite more than that in many cases, right? And also I have not changed the chain and sprocket, like, you know, maybe that is coming up in let's say in another 3,000-4,000 kilometers. That needs to be changed. So other than that, I think nothing major. Regular, I stick to yearly services because I'm not riding beyond 5,000 kilometers per year. So you can go for a checkup. They do insist on, like, you know, doing a checkup, right? But yeah, this unevenness, man. Okay, it's a good thing. Like, you know, if you ride a lot, you can you know, go and do the checkup, right, every 6 months, and like full service every year. So yeah, service cost comes around like 4 to 5K. Unless there is a part replacement, it might go up, but like economical. I think chain and sprocket cost you 4,000, air filter costs you around 250-300 rupees. So yeah, it's not that costly. Like, only when you have to maybe, like, you know, do some engine work, it might cost you a bit more, but other than that, it's pretty good. Alright guys, that's where I stop. Thank you for watching. Yeah, I will be a bit more frequent in the coming days. So thank you.